Right, we're live at 5 o'clock now with the final hour of SA Today to bring you these breaking news as announced earlier on today. These are the live and current visuals straight from the Waterkloof Air Force Base, where of course the second group of the SANDF troops just touched down on South African soil. Now this phased return is actually part of the SANDF's planned withdrawal from the mission in the DRC, and of course we do have on standby our reporter Khayelihle Khumalo, who is stationed right at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. Khayelihle, a very good afternoon to you. So just right in the moment and to catch the return of that second group of soldiers, tell us what you're currently witnessing from your vantage point.
Well, very much so, Alicia. Quite a very significant moment for the South African National Defence Force. As you know, that they've been really working hard in terms of making sure that a second cohort of their members are safely returned to South Africa. We know that the SADC leaders took that particular decision to withdraw from the eastern part of the DRC. So they were part of the SADC mission in the DRC. As you know, that Alicia, the eastern parts of Congo, it's quite restive. We've seen the M23 rebels capturing a swathe of territory in that part of Congo. But a very significant moment now that 257 South African soldiers are back here at home. So as you can see, now they're really making sure that they'll be able to jump off the aircraft. So this is Dreamliner Boeing 787 all the way from Tanzania. Alicia, as you know, that Tanzania has been designated as an assembly point for the troops to move from Goma and Sake in the eastern part of the DRC, and then they had to travel via road to Rwanda and all the way to Tanzania. So it's been a very precarious and a delicate process to reach this particular point. And we know that by the estimate of the South African National Defence Force, Alicia, they want to complete this process by the end of June. So they were supposed to complete the process essentially by the end of May, but there were so many hurdles that they had to overcome. So as you can see, the personnel here at the Air Force Base, they're just getting up the staircase. So one of the major challenges they had is that the initial plan, they were supposed to go to Bloemfontein. We saw them also, the first cohorts landing here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. So now this is a second group. Alicia, it was incredible looking at those visuals, the joy on Friday night as we wait now for this particular moment as well for the soldiers to come out. And from here, Alicia, we do understand they'll be heading down to Bloemfontein for a demobilization process, a very essential leg in terms of making sure that they are taken care of for the psychosocial supports before they are reintegrated into their unit. And also we do understand that some of their family members may be around here at the Air Force Base, but at this point in time, as a media, we're not able to speak to them. But a very, very important moment, Alicia. You know that this particular mission has been quite monumental for SAMI-DRC, the SADC mission in the DRC. And as you can see now, the aircraft, they are opening up that door. And obviously, Air Tanzania has been contracted by the SADC to facilitate this process. A number of soldiers will be streaming into South Africa from time to time. We know that South Africa, Alicia, is part of the troop contributing countries for this mission that was based in the DRC. Other countries include Malawi as well, and Tanzania itself. And it's been quite a very massive mission, Alicia, for SAMI-DRC in terms of trying to contain a volatile situation. And we saw also their colleagues passing away, Alicia, who would forget those poignant moments when 14 SANDF members died and they had to be repatriated. It was quite a very, very quite a precarious process in getting everything together, the logistics, but also the sense of grief for the families. And we saw the Commander-in-Chief, Alicia, declaring those days of mourning for the soldiers when President Cyril Ramaphosa was delivering the State of the Nation address. But Now you go back to the SADC leaders meeting that was held virtually, where the decision was taken, Alicia, for the peace talks to be given a chance as opposed to having this particular moment. So what is very, very key now is all about making sure that they bring back home the soldiers. We know of the challenges that they had to endure, a very, very unstable situation. Alicia, as you know, that the eastern part of DRC, you've got lots of militias as well. And this has been a long-standing problem for some time for the SADC region. It's quite key for them to make sure that they reach this particular conclusion. So, Alicia, once again, joining us now is Admiral Chabalala. So we're still off the visuals, just to give you a chance. So once again, Admiral, thank you so much indeed for your time. So a very big moment once again as the second cohorts of the soldiers, they've touched down in South Africa. Take us through to the process now and the way forward.
Okay. Kaya, as you can see, they will disembark now. Remember, Waterkloof has been declared as a port of entry. As you can see behind our back, there's border management agents that will process them. They will follow the right process of processing through a port of entry, where it means they are being screened, and on completion of that process, with the Military Command Council, the SANDF Military Command Council, led by General Zwan Mapanya, the Chief of SANDF, we'll then have a short brief with them to tell them what will be unfolding, and then with that speech, in the next few minutes, we should be able to, the listeners will be able to hear what the general is going to say to the troops, and then after that, the troops will then either be bused or be transported to Bloemfontein, where they will undergo the demobilization process.
Admiral, obviously you had to overcome a number of hurdles to reach this point. You had to negotiate with a number of countries, and we know that Goma, Saka, it's still quite a very volatile and a very unstable territory. That process, navigating, making sure that they are able to reach Chato, that has been designated as an assembly point. How has the process been? Making sure that you get everything, just intact, your ducks in the row as well.
Look, Kaya, there's been a lot of engagement from the rear and in the front line with the Force Commander, General Jacobi, who's the Force Commander of Summit DRC, giving an update in terms of what is happening here in the front line where the soldiers are. As we are moving these ones and moving them through, navigating through the border post of Chato in Tanzania, moving to the airport in Mwanza, everything has been going well so far. We have seen that Goma has remained volatile, but led by our chief of SANDF and the other SADC chief, we have managed to enter into a ceasefire with the M23, and we have seen the M23 also being unable to receive our people and also escorting us and making sure that our troops are safe. So as you can see here in the visuals, we are seeing General Zwan Mapanya with the members of the Military Command Council lead, and the second member there, we are seeing General Sangweni pointing out into the direction of leading the Military Command Council to welcome our members. For us, this is a moment, this is a commitment, this is a clear demonstration of the leadership support for their troops, and showing the demonstration that the leadership of the SANDF do care about what is happening, and that they do care about all the troops. You will see that almost every aircraft that will be landing here, all the Military Command Council will be available to welcome the members appropriately. And afterwards, you will see General shortly will be addressing the members to explain to them what will be the process from now on.
So certainly, Admiral Alicia, as you can see, very historic visuals there, and a guard of honor for these soldiers. They've been hailed as heroes of South Africa, making sure that there is peace in the DRC. Once again, Admiral, bringing you into the picture again. We know this has been quite a very big mission. And also now the issue of allowing the diplomatic solution, the peace talks to get underway. I would imagine now that this is a very key moment as the troops are coming back home, especially because who would forget that sad note when we saw 14 SANDF members dying in that fierce battle with the capture of Goma, Admiral.
Yes, indeed. This is a moment what we as SANDF will never forget. But what is very important is that there shall be a major review, which we shall talk now. As you can see, there seems to be a demand for me to come and join the Military Command Council. But what is very important is that the commitment of the SANDF Military Command Council to support the troop, we shall always be there. We have seen the first troop landing now, and that is clearly a demonstration of our commitment. I'm sorry, Kaya, and the
all right, Admiral, by all means, you go and join the Guard of Honor. So, Alicia, that's the voice of Admiral Prince Chabalala from the SANDF. As you can see, the historic visuals here from the Air Force Base in Pretoria, the second batch of the South African National Defence Force. They are back in the country, so you can see just a sigh of relief. You can really see the euphoria really that is prevailing here at the Air Force Base. And of course, Air Tanzania, Alicia, touched down right after 5 p.m. And also we've seen from these visuals that the SANDF Chief, General Rudzani Maphanya as well, is part of the Guard of Honor, joining there the military council, making sure that the soldiers are back in South Africa in good shape. And it won't end here, Alicia. We know that from here now onwards, they will have an opportunity where there'll be a briefing from their chief, and they'll be heading out to the Free States in Bloemfontein, where there'll be a demobilization process, a very, very critical element, Alicia, in terms of making sure that the soldiers do get necessary, medical attention, the screening process, but also essentially for the reintegration with their units. And we do understand throughout the month of June, Alicia, it's going to be a very important time for them to have this opportunity. But just bear with us, Alicia. We've just been given now a call to move closer, so our visuals may be a bit shaky so that we're able to witness this very, very important moment here at the Air Force Base in Waterkloof, and quite a very historic time for the SANDF. They were part of the SADC mission in the eastern part of the DRC, and as you know, that Alicia, South Africa has been one of the troop contributing countries, and it's a very, very important time for them to come back home. So we saw on Friday as well the first cohort, the first group landing here, and Air Tanzania obviously has been given a mandate by the SADC bloc to ensure that they carry out this task. So now we're right close to the aircraft here by the runway, Alicia, so I'm sure that the visuals are very clear. You can see sheer elation, so much joy as the soldiers are greeting the military council that has been stationed here, and very, very important mission, Alicia. We know that the eastern part of Congo has been quite a troublesome area for some time. And what is very key, Alicia, is that you still do have MONUSCO, which is the United Nations mission that is still based in the eastern part of DRC. South Africa as well is still contributing there in terms of the troops. So you can really see here euphoric moments indeed as the soldiers are finally, Alicia, they're finally back home. I mean, in fact, at some point, we managed to speak to some of the families. You know, they haven't seen them since December 2023. So by all accounts, there's a sigh of relief, there's sheer joy as they are just being warmly welcomed here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. And we know that other batches as well will continue to come here in the country, Alicia.
Very interesting that you mentioned General Maphanya there, Khayelihle, because we do understand, he explained that the movement of personnel as well as logistics actually started in earnest from the 29th of April 2025. And of course, with the departure of the first group from the eastern DRC via road to Rwanda to Tanzania. But he also assured the nation that most logistical equipment will then be transported by sea from Dar es Salaam, Tanzania, Tanzania to South Africa. So you can confirm to us basically, so what we are seeing right now is just the sole arrival of soldiers. They are not carrying any equipment in that Air Tanzania Boeing.
Well, certainly, Alicia, what we do know is that for the heavy gear, the prime military equipment, we do understand that that cargo will be taken via the ports of Dar es Salaam. But for some certain artillery that they can carry, we do understand that they do have some stuff here inside these aircraft. But for that massive gear, we know that it's going to go all the way to Dar es Salaam and then heading out to the port of Durban. And obviously, we do know that we can't really speak to the members in terms of their reaction. So it's quite important, really, to make sure that they get this process right, Alicia. As you can see, that it's a fairly smooth process. They are able also to get back to their families. I think that's a very key element in this regard, Alicia. So as you can see from our visuals, the sense of elation is prevailing here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. They are finally home after a very long period of time. And also they do have their chief here, General Maponya, Alicia, interacting with them, shaking their hands. And you could have seen also the scenes on Friday. There was song and dance, a sigh of relief that they are finally back home, Alicia.
So, Kailihle, I heard you earlier on speaking to Admiral Prince Chabalala there, and he explained at great lengths the process of what actually takes place as soon as, of course, the soldiers touch down on South African soil. But maybe let's just go through that process once again, because I understand you are saying that there are family members of the soldiers that are actually now present there. So what happens? Do they get a moment to just spend or share pleasantries with their family members before, of course, being whisked off to be debriefed? What happens in that instance? All right, it looks like I'm struggling audio-wise there with our reporter Kailihle Khumalo, but he's still stationed at the Waterkloof Air Force Base, and we're currently witnessing live visuals of the arrival of the second batch, about over 200 of the soldiers that are returning as part of this phased repatriation of the SADC mission from the Eastern DRC. Kailihle, I understand you're back with us. I just wanted to know, since you were speaking to Admiral Prince Chabalala earlier on, I mean, you went at great lengths about explaining the process of what actually happens as soon as the soldiers touch down on South African soil. But what I want to understand, you also mentioned the fact that their family members are there. So what happens? Do they get to share some pleasantries with their families before being whisked off to get debriefed? What is the order of process there?
Well, obviously, Alicia, it's quite a very big moment for their families. As you know, that they haven't seen their families since the deployment in December 2023. So we do understand that from now here, they'll be getting inside this particular facility here where they will have their passport stamped, and then they will have an opportunity to see some of their family members who are here. And obviously not all family members are here, but we know that it's going to be quite a very important moment of reunification, and then they'll be heading down to Bloemfontein, Alicia. That's where the demobilization process will take place. But I can tell you this much, there's so much joy here. There's a sense of relief that they are finally back home, Alicia. As you know, that the eastern part of DRC has been restive for some time. You look at so many SADC meetings where the leaders, whenever they talk about security in the region, this has been a fairly dominant issue. And you can see there the visuals of the General Maponya really shaking their hands, welcoming back home and saying that they've done such a very sterling job. Alicia, as you know, that they've been hailed as heroes. They've been really, in fact, on Friday night, night when the Minister of Defense and Military Veterans, Angie Motshekga, was here. So she was saying these are the heroes. You know, the mission might have not really achieved its intended goals of making sure that there is peace in the DRC, but also South Africa reaffirming its position that it will continue to make sure that they play their part in deploying the troops, Alicia, to be part of these missions, to make sure that there is long-lasting peace in Africa, so that when you talk about development, when you're talking about making sure that the implementation of projects like the Continental Free Trade Area, you really remove all the pockets of conflicts and have really stable countries. As you know, that the DRC is a very big country, Alicia, and for the longest time it's been facing insecurity challenges. And these are the men and women who are really at the front line in terms of making sure that there is peace in the DRC, Alicia. And now it's a culmination moment as the second group is finally back here at home in South Africa, and we know that the demobilization process, Alicia, will take about 3 days, where they will have an opportunity to be with the experts, to be with the medical personnel. And once again, Alicia, I'm going to reintroduce Admiral Chabalala here with me. So once again, Admiral, welcome back to SABC News. So once again, a very significant moment. So we're very close now, but we can see so much joy here. We can see General Mapanya, the chief of the SANDF, is here. So quite a very, very important time for the SANDF.
It is an important, remarkable time because, Kaya, I want to also to dispel the notion, going back to what other media were alleging, to say our members are being starved, they don't have food, and that. What we have seen here is members that whose morale is very high, and we also want to go back to that issue to say these members, as you can see their visuals, they were never malnourished, they got their food. The only issue here, what we want to correct, is that when they were under siege by M23 rebels, the service providers, those who were providing food to us, had no access to them. So the soldiers had to use the ration packs that are normally provided to them. But as you can see, members are fit, ready to rejoin the SANDF, and they are willing to continue the service. The morale is high. None of them is not smiling, as you can see here. And most of them, in fact, I had an opportunity to shake some hands here, and one of them said he's looking forward to enjoy the true South African meal, which is pap and all the delicacies that we offer in our cuisine. So that is the spirit that we can see. The military command, with support led by General Rudzani Mapanya here, is clearly a demonstration. And all these members that we are saying, they are members of the Command Council. The next few days, you will see these scenes happening almost on daily basis until the mission is complete, until every boot and every asset of South Africa is back at home.
Once again, Admiral, let's go back to the point around the asset. I do understand for your heavy equipment, it's going to go via the port of Dar es Salaam, then heading all the way to Durban. But take us through in terms of some of the stuff that you can carry, some of the portable equipment. Do you have it here?
No. This aircraft has been chartered to get our personnel. The 80% of our assets are actually in Tanzania, and some of them are already being processed through a shipping port at Dar es Salaam, and they are going to arrive here minimum. They might take about 10 days, but we are looking forward to get all our assets, as the chief has committed that whether the asset is damaged or unserviceable, it's going to come back home. And that commitment we have seen being demonstrated actually. As you can see here, we have Admiral Mkonto, who is our chief logistics. I think he may even vow for me if I can bring it home, if you allow me.
All right. We'll bring him later. Once again, Admiral, let's look at South Africa's commitment to the peacekeeping missions. We know that it's almost like a hallmark of a post-apartheid democracy where South Africa has played a very central role in these missions, whether you're looking at Sudan, whether you're looking at recently in Mozambique, but also you're looking at the eastern part of DRC. Another very critical element here is that you still do have MONUSCO, where South Africa as well is one of the troop contributing countries for the United Nations troops that are still in the eastern part of DRC, because this has been a long-standing challenge for the region, for that particular country to be restored in terms of peace and security. But share with us again, in terms of the sentiments, South Africa's commitment for the continent to be conflict-free.
As led by our Minister of Defense and the Minister of Foreign Relations, the commitment is absolute that there should be silencing of the gun. Our chief himself, as a SADC chief, he is part of that initiative led by the African Union to say the continent needs to be restored with peace so that everybody can prosper. The Congo people deserve to prosper like any other nation, and me as a military person, obviously, Kaya, I'm not qualified to comment further on political matters, but I can say from the military point of view, we as SANDF remain committed to support any decision that is taken by the higher command structures, whether to engage with any other mission as a military personnel that we are assigned to. We remain resolute as soldiers that we have signed to and committed to the cause of South Africa, to say we are going to be there as a strategic tool of our government to support our government, whatever initiative that they are embarked on.
And certainly, Alicia, very, very incredible visuals here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. But Admiral, once again, let's look at the issue of demobilization. It's a very essential element, because it's all about making sure that the SANDF members, they are fine in terms of their well-being, but also the reunification with their units. Now, let's talk about the element. Are they ever going to get an opportunity to see their families once all of this has been concluded?
Indeed, and you can see now that they are back in their homeland. The families are in jubilation. I'm sure as they watch the visuals as we are broadcasting, some of them are pointing out at the screens to say, here's my mother, here's my brother, here's my sister, here's my cousin. So that is the kind of excitement that the nation will bring. As we enter the military base in Tempe, you will see some of the families, those that are staying around Bloemfontein, they've been camping there, looking forward to see their family members, the relatives, the brothers, the husband, the wives, looking forward to make sure that they are there. As you can see, the soldiers, the troops have all combination. We have women who've been serving our country. We have men that have been serving their country. We are a nation that does not discriminate in terms of soldiering. We are a demonstration and reflection of our society. And the families there, as I indicated, Kaya, they've been camping, some of them, and in fact, there is a moment of jubilation, as you can see.
All right, Admiral, thank you so much indeed for that. So, Alicia, as you can really see, that it's a very incredible time here at the Waterkloof Air Force Base. Sheer jubilation, yet sheer elation, as the SANDF members are finally back home. So this is the second cohort, and from here they will have a briefing. They will hear from their General, the chief of the SANDF, he's right here as well, General Mopanya, and then they will have an opportunity to go down to the Free States in Bloemfontein, and that's where the demobilization will take place. So with that, back to you in Johannesburg.
All right, we're going to leave it there. Thank you so much to SABC News reporter Khayelihle Khumalo joining us live from the Waterkloof Air Force Base there. And of course, that was the second return of that batch of soldiers there. The third group expected to touch down on South African soil by tomorrow.